Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another late night stream of mine. And we are doing another UBOAT session here on Twitch. So, this is about slipping into the role of a German submarine commander in the Second World War. The game is called UBOAT, and if you ask me, it's by far the best submarine simulation we got in the last years. And yeah, I'm pretty enthusiastic about it. Actually, I would love to do a double stream to YouTube as well, but that just doesn't work because my Streamlabs desktop somehow doesn't seem to have the server performance to do that. So I will upload this one to YouTube as usual afterwards. So welcome you guys on YouTube just as well. Glad to have you watching. And as usual, I'm not doing any cutting. Just don't have the time for that. So excuse me for uploading this whole content, but maybe you might also love to switch through and see if you have some passages which might be interesting. So what am I doing? I am doing a complete playthrough of the game since the very beginning of the war, which was 19 September 1939, and you see in the top left corner that by now we are in October 1943, which means we are 4 years into the war by now. Yeah, quite something. And the enemy has learned a lot. Things become more and more difficult, which is also one of the beautiful aspects of the game, that you really feel things change, so it doesn't get boring. Yeah, I'm playing on almost maximum difficulty level. I have installed only just one mod, the Deep Leaks mod, and yeah, that's where we are. And at the moment, let's check it. Since a while we are in the Mediterranean, and here we have sunk a few ships, and in particular we have ambushed a relatively large and well-guarded convoy and sank 2 transports and 1 man of war of that convoy. And yeah, they chased us, we got away, and then I was a little bit too easy-minded and went back to the surface to go flank speed to evade on the surface, and obviously one of the escorts picked us up on their radar and hunted us down, and yeah, it was moving much faster, so we had to go back down again, and that's where we are, 200 meters again, and there is just one escort now chasing us at the surface. Let's hope that he's not calling his friends. Hi, weight loss, good evening. So finally we have reached the weekend. Yes, same for me, you're right. Yeah. Already before midnight. Yeah, great to have you in. Yeah, I have to keep in mind that mod that you mentioned, which was already updated. Maybe I'm gonna install it. This one where you have more realistic capacities of the battery and these things. Yeah, at the moment nothing to here. Let's ask Mr. Hinrich. Okay. It pretty much looks like that guy's given up. So it's moving away. I think that was the guy that was chasing us. And it might be that we sank one more ship around here. Not sure. If we get rid of this escort, I would like to get back to the surface and check the area if we find evidence that we have sunk a third merchantman. But for now, let's stay put. Let's keep quiet. Whoa, that's the pressure. Yeah, let me note that. I didn't note that yesterday. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah, the whole crew is on battle station. We are on silent run. Dive planes to manual, gyro turned off. So we are as silent as possible. Only thing is that we are going with silent speed forward. What's interesting is that this guy is actually moving away in the opposite direction of the convoy that it came from. Where do you get the Iron Fist skill? Or which one is it? I think it's a line officer skill, isn't it? Silent Run, Daredevil, Cook, Bullseye, Ace. Yeah, I mean, if I had it, both of my officers would actually have it, right? So these kind of accomplishments you get. Yeah, obviously I don't have it. Or you say second row. Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. It's that one. Not quite sure. I never put much emphasis on that one. He has it. The captain actually has that skill. Yep. You're right. Yeah, that's not bad. That's really not bad a skill if I look at it. Considerably reducing the noise. Yep, you're right. Never quite hated that skill, but it's a pretty important skill. I 100% agree. Yes, yeah. And I could even dare to... Yeah, I usually don't. When I have enemies on my heels, I really try to avoid loading torpedoes. Well, let's check, by the way. Talking about torpedoes, we have 4 torpedoes left, which are loaded. I think I still have torpedoes in the external storage. Yeah, right. I love that concept of the external storage, to have it realistically put into the game. And both stern torpedoes fire. Do I have external stern storage? No, only 4 torpedo external. Yeah. Yeah, so weight loss, how was your week? Now that it is over, discipline is still alright. Yeah, as I said yesterday, I had a pretty busy week. I hope that the next week will be a little bit more relaxed than this one. So at the moment I don't have sufficient crew to support all my offices. And yeah, fatigue level is -15, but we have this +17 moral boost from that bounty hunting feature, which it comes in when we successfully sank or hit ships. So, Mr. Hinrich. Wow, wow, nice. So that pretty much looks like it should be safe to get back to the surface. Moving away. Just worried about that guy at the moment, but it's 5 to 10 miles away. Just let's not do our last mistake. Let's not repeat our last mistake in getting to the surface too early, so that they would get us in their radar. Well, by the way, I used to do a news save for each news stream, at least W424, and save it. Aktuelle Tiefe 195 Meter. So now it's midnight, and yeah, pretty far away. I think it could be safe now to return to the surface. Yeah, let's at least go to 50 meters. And guys, you can step away from battle stations. And we can also stop the silent running. We can turn on the electric dive planes again and the gyro.
180 Meter.
Whenever I turn on and off the gyro, I have to remember what you said, weight loss, that it is completely unrealistic to just turn off a gyro compass and turn it on again.
175 Meter.
52
Peilung
Meter.
165 Grad.
65 Meter.
They're all moving away and pretty far.
Tauchen auf 20 Meter.
Aktuelle Tiefe 20 Meter.
Tauchen auf 10 Meter.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kanone. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
15 Meter.
I'm pretty curious if we could register another kill. Yeah. So do you, when you play U-Boat, do you actually do it, or do you leave it on all the time for the sake of realism? Yeah, a bit of water in the bilge. 50 liters is still uncritical. So, Captain, would you take a look with the periscope?
Es ist nicht mehr erforderlich, die Schotten
Open
geschlossen
the
zu halten.
bulkheads. Yeah, okay, so you do it realistically, yeah. Yeah, which would mean that as soon as you have once turned it off, you would head straight back to the next port. Okay.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind auf Seerohrtiefe. Boot für Rundblick eingesteuert.
So how far? 4 miles. Come on, let's stay put. We still have enough oxygen and enough battery charge.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Herr Kaloi?
Far, far away. Is there something, or is it, maybe it's just a star? Or is it a position light? I'm not sure. Okay, if it's like that, please switch to the observation periscope. Okay, so we also have that compass. Okay. In the commenter, I'm gonna check that. Interesting. So this is quite some annoyance that the observation periscope is just a bit shorter, obviously, than the attack periscope. I always wonder if this is realistic. So let's get up 1 meter,
Augen auf. 5 Meter.
1 meter closer to the surface. And let's see what we see.
10 Meter.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
I think, yeah, let's give it a save and then we're gonna go back to the surface. Yeah, and still, if you don't have the gyro turned on in the game, you lose this, yeah, accuracy of your position much faster, right? I'm not quite sure if you could counter it if you have the gyro compass turned off and have one officer all the time doing the map navigation. I could even think that you might counter that drop of navigation precision.
Anblasen.
Yeah, there we go. Back to the surface.
Funkmesssignale geortet. Peilung 155 Grad.
Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Okay, whoa, that close. Oh, come on. I don't like that.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
I don't like that. So if I detect them, they might detect us. Somewhere around here I did sink the ship, but, well, I did hit the ship. It was just unclear if I actually did sink it. So, any lifeboats? Or any wreckage, any flotsam. Yeah, you completely lose orientation on the sea. That was the problem of the airplanes in the Pacific War, I think. If they had technical problems with their compass or something, they would get completely lost.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten.
Yeah, alright, let's get back home. Yeah, magnetic deviation, you mean something like the Missweisung? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so weird that it differs so much over the globe. Pretty fascinating. I mean, the magnetic field of the Earth is something very fascinating in general. And although generally people explain it with the moving molten metal core of the Earth, it's, I think, still not fully understood why this actually creates a magnetic field. I mean, if you take a disc of iron and rotate it fast, you just would not create a magnetic field. So that process is kind of weird. Yeah, okay, also, yeah, something like that. Yep. Iron deposits, yeah. Really creating some deviations, yep. Yeah, so if I remember right, what we call Missweisung in German, it's that contribution which is from the fact that the poles, the magnetic North Pole is not quite at the position where the geographic North Pole is, right? And so am I right that this is the Missweisung and the Ablenkung would be what you say, like having metal deposits or some whatever geological local effects.
Äußerste Kraft voraus.
Let's see that we get away from the side fast. All right. Yeah, yeah, I see. So come on, let's send this report to the headquarters.
Funkraum besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Funkraum besetzen.
Yeah, that's also the fascinating point, that the magnetic North Pole is actually, yeah, is considerably moving over the years. I mean, not over the centuries or something, but really over the years. It's considerably changing. That's so amazing. And I mean, the whole magnetic field is still a bit of a mystery for the scientists even. And that's even the more amazing if you consider how important the magnetic field actually is for us, because it gives some protection from the radiation from space, which is so important that life actually could develop on that planet. Not to speak about the importance for the navigation. Yeah, let's give it another save. And let's carry on. Yeah, okay, that best viewer bullshit again. And let's get back home. No math necessary anymore then. Yeah, I always imagine that navigation becomes pretty boring in times of satellite navigation. GPS. So shall we... I was just thinking about getting the torpedoes from the deck into the boat, but now that we have sunrise, maybe I wouldn't do it. Do we have the shaky boat again, which is the wind speed 12 knots. So I would say we have quite a wave for 12 knots again. I thought that they had changed something about that. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's good that you know how to deal with navigation without the technical equipment. Yeah, we all know that in case of a war there are means how to actually make all the technical equipment useless, all electronics and everything. Yeah, quite a wave, look at that.
Herr Kanol, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Well, I mean, 12 knots of wind speed, what is it? I don't have it in my mind. Is it something like 5 before, or is it more? I would say this is definitely not a 5 before wave, but more. A 4 only, okay. So... yeah, maybe a bit unrealistic, that size of the swell at the moment. They announced that they would change something with the update, but if you ask me, it now and then even feels a bit unrealistic since then. And I thought that I had read something in one of the change notes that they have worked on it. Yeah, it depends on the run-up, yeah. And when the storm actually passes away, then the waves really go up. Yep. Might be, yep.
Endlich ein paar Stunden Pause.
Yeah, you're right. It could well be. And as it is not always like that,
Nötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
let's assume that they do it kind of consistently, yeah. Yeah, I think we don't have. Yeah, let's go
Reisefahrt,
back
voraus.
to cruise speed and let's go back home. 9 o'clock.
Endlich ein paar Stunden Pause.
Ah, okay, we have that effect again that it's not exactly the times of the change of watch. Yeah, the change of watch still takes place after Berlin time, while our clock is aligned with the local time. That's the interesting thing, yeah.
Ich bin sehr müde.
So, Mr. Schulz, please take a look at the map.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloy.
Yeah. Speaking of Tunisia, so let's see if Vulvulu is going to join us later in the stream.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
At the moment, the stream is not very busy, actually. Yesterday it was. That was great. A lot of people were in the stream. That was just wonderful. Problem was that I was pretty tired. So my stream yesterday was rather short. It was less than 2 hours.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Bestätige. Navigation besetzen.
Alright, here we are, 10 o'clock. Yeah, night time, so let's now do the transfer of the deck torpedoes into the boat. Who's gonna do it? Mr. Schneider.
Befehle, Herr Kaloy. Folgen Sie mir. Ich benötige Ihre Unterstützung. Folgen Sie mir.
Ganz erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Herr Kaloy?
Yeah, let's take a look at the graphics. Yeah, that takes a long time. I really wonder what would happen if I dive in the middle of the torpedo transfer from deck to inside stores. I mean, if it is real, you should really not be able to dive right away, but it might take quite a long time to actually stow away everything in the middle of the transfer to get diving again. Yeah, if you look at that, that must be very hard to do that when you have a bit of a swell going. Okay, it looks like they're almost finished. Yeah, the animation is pretty basic, so we don't see any movement. It's just, yeah, the torpedo just appears and disappears. I hope that they would work on that one a bit later. Resets magically into the external storage. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. Maybe they are gonna work on that later and improve it. Now let's get this. Okay, let's get the second. They already put it into one of the torpedo tubes right away. Yeah. Okay, we have 4 torpedoes in the bow tubes now. Yeah, okay, maybe, yes. That's a problem, programming-wise, to introduce this new mechanic. This is always the question that you have to ask yourself when you think about improvements. Yeah, what would actually be their effort to implement it? Let's take a look at the torpedo storage. Yeah, all right. Yeah, come on, now that we are here, let's do one more hydrophone check. We do have a few torpedoes left. If we are so lucky and just run into another single merchantman, which is crying for getting sunk by us. Yeah, all the Overwatch crew assembled in the fore compartment for obvious reason. The valves open, so seawater has already flooded the ballast tank of 4 and above just as well. Down we go. Yeah, it's relatively shallow here, so the crew brings the boat only to something like 35 meters. And they're gonna stop the boat there and then do 5 minutes of listening. I didn't yet turn on the pump. As soon as we are back on the surface, I have to remember to pump out the bilge.
40.
So again, we profit from that enormous range of the hydrophone down here underwater. Yeah, let's see if we hear something.
Meter.
So what do you think? How realistic is the game? If you have an enemy ship here, do you think that we would detect it? Or does the game heed that we have some shadowing and that the sound of that ship would most probably not arrive here? Wow, Pit. Haha. Good evening. Nice to have you in. Ah, beautiful. How are you doing? How was your stream going? Welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to have you in. Okay, so you just came in with advertising. Yeah, sorry, guys. Yeah, Pit, nice to have you in. And hi, Bombing Fritz. Nice to have you in as well. So, I am very honored to have the two the two big guys of UBOAT streaming visiting me here. So my stream was pretty, not very busy actually. Yesterday we had a nice chat and quite a few people in the stream, but I had a pretty hard week. So I went to bed yesterday pretty early, and yeah, today everything is fine, and even the more happy I am to have you in. By the way, is this a new sound? This sound of air streaming into the ballast tanks?
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Okay, back to the surface, so let's turn on the pump for a little while. Yeah, just a bit of water in the bilge, let's get it out. And yeah, by the way, what's our situation? I'm doing this whole walkthrough through the war, having started at the very beginning in 1939. And you see, by now it's October 1943, which means that we are a bit more than 4 years into the war right now. So, yeah, we are in the Mediterranean, and just right now I am doing the Battle of the Mediterranean mission set, having finished the first. And yeah, you see we are something like half through the second, and my plan actually is to get the boat update, to get the boat upgrade blueprint, and yeah, then switching to the Type 9. And this is what I love so much about that last update, that it is compatible to my old saves, so I can continue my long-term campaign. And now, hopefully, I will be able to naturally switch to the Type 9. Hey, Vinobor, nice to have you in. Good evening. I hope you had a good stream. Did you also do UBOAT? I guess you did. Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much for the raid. Yeah, bombing Fritz. How close is the victory? Yeah. Yeah, we all know how the game ends, but as for me, I never by myself reached the end of the game. And for me, this is all new. I never went that far into the war like I am right now. You think it would be a bit of a downgrade? Yeah. Yeah, why would you say it's a downgrade? I only played the Type 9 for a few hours and then switched back to my good old campaign here. So I don't have any much experience yet with the Type 9. Okay, from that point of view, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Vinobor. Yeah, okay. So yeah, if I plan to stay here in the Atlantic, might be reasonable to stick to the Type 7. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah. 2 out of 8 made it through the war. Yeah. Great statistics, isn't it? That's really something to think about. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, and thanks for raiding. Was a pleasure to have you in. Yeah, the first 2 actually made it through. Yeah, that's amazing. Maybe they were made the best quality. Yeah, this is something that I often wonder. What is it about the quality, about the production quality of the submarines? So, did they already do welding back then? Or was everything just bolted together?
Navigation besetzen.
Yeah. I mean, how did they assure quality back then? So, my guess would be that from each particular U-boat to each other particular U-boat, you would recognize quite considerable differences how deep it could actually go until it crashes. Really just depending on the particular, production steps and everything. I mean, if there were some critical parts to be welded together and the welder just had a bad day or was out for a bender the day before, I would guess that there might have been quite some quality differences from boat to boat, and that it was a bit of a gamble which one you get. No bad days in Germany.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Yeah, I think doing another hydrophone check around here would not be worth the time, because we would probably just detect fishermen, would be my guess.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl,
Yeah, right, one imperfection in the metal or some irregularities in the welding. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why they only give the warranty to what? 100. I don't know. They just gave the warranty to 100 meters or something, right? To be on the safe side. 90 meters, yeah.
ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, so if one submarine got crushed before it reached that guaranteed crush depth, risk was very low that the shipyard would actually get sued for it. So it was pretty much of a hypothetical number, which really nobody ever was able to verify.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
So it would be a destructive test.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloy. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Ja, ich kümmere mich darum.
Ah, yeah, okay. But only to 90 meters then, I guess, yeah. And there we are getting back home. If the tank barrel failed. Yeah. Hey, Big Tony, thank you very much for the follow. Great to have you in. So I hope you had a good week and are slipping nicely into the weekend. So it depends on where you're from. Around here we are already in the weekend. It's 12:30, midnight. But I guess there are a few viewers as well who might still be on Friday. we go, getting back home. Yeah, okay, another fisherman. Okay, that does look good with that guy. And here we are. I got some lag right now. Okay, yeah, this is when I'm getting close to the coast, I sometimes get a bit of a lag when the game is calculating the coastal scenery.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Herr Kaloin, wir befinden uns in flachen Gewässern.
Yeah, shallow sea. A few streams ago, I actually ventured to visit the port of Salamis to rearm and refuel there. And on the way out, I actually was not able to leave the port properly because it was just too shallow. That was a bit of a pain in the ass to get out of there.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, here again, I love how they do the coast. I mean, it's a naval simulation, so expectations are not that high. And for that, it's really beautiful. Like, all the graphics of the game is really beautiful. Always gives me this feeling of being at sea in a small boat. Yeah, like I used to say, when I watch this view here, I really start to smell the sea and taste the salt on my lips and feel this, yeah, damp feeling when the spray is drying, the salty spray is drying in your hair. So the game pretty much draws me into its immersion. That's why I love it so much. Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't talk too much like that, yeah. Would be interesting if anybody could tell us what the translation to English of the word Fernweh is.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
It's the Wanderlust. Yeah, right. I remember.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
That's pretty much exactly that meaning, yeah. So here we are, getting into port. Yeah, the sea is a bit choppy, I would say.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
And let's speed down. Yeah, guys, the question now is, would I send my crew to a shore leave? The fatigue level is 16, so maybe I should. I think I'm gonna send them on a shore leave.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
I never much trust this kind of automatic course finder.
Kurs setzen.
Yeah, you could still counter it with a lot of food, different types of food, but yeah. Come on, change course. Do you? Okay, oh, just so. Just so, getting around. Yeah, I always try to wait with the shore leave as long as possible. Always feels a bit like a waste of time being inefficient for 3 or 4 weeks. And there we go. Into the beautiful port of La Spezia. The name being well known from the movie to all of us, I guess. It was the final destination of the boat. But yeah, they didn't make it. In comparison to us, in contrast to us, they didn't make it through the Strait of Gibraltar. Yes, no shore leave. Yeah, I actually have been living in Swabia for 4 years. And the people in the region of Swabia in Germany, they are well known particularly for their, hard-working attitude. Okay. There we are. Yeah, sometimes I am this kind of manic saver. Schaffe Häusle baue. Yeah. Now, mission completed. Let's report to the officer. Yeah, the captain is close to getting the Knight's Cross with oak leaves, crossed swords, and diamonds and whatnot. So we sank the Empire Plowman. We sank the Fire Drake Destroyer, and we sank the Empire Haley. Okay, see, we even got 3, but we didn't get that credited, did we? We actually did sink 3. I think we sank that one before, probably. Yeah, not bad, not bad. So we are already half through the second stage of this campaign. We sank the Empire Plowman, attacked the convoy. Okay, look at that. This is buggy in the mission summary. I don't get any details. Interesting. Never had that before. Well, however, as long as all my tonnage I get as long as I get accounted for all the tonnage, it's fine. The crew gets some experience. Let's see. With the specialization, no, I do not yet get an additional specialization point. All right. So now let's briefly check. What I don't like, and I think they haven't fixed it yet, when you're once in the port menu, you can't enter your boat. again. You only have to leave port to actually get eyes on your boat again. That was at least what I recognized last time. And can you close the port menu and then just get back into this view that we have right here? Yeah, okay, maybe I just missed how you would do it. By the way, let's briefly check. Our coffee status is all right. What about the food? A bit of food in the galley. Let's... Ah, okay, interesting. Okay, so go to the port menu. So how would I close the port? Oh yeah, okay, all right. All right. Yeah, somehow I missed that.
Guten Tag, Herr Kommandant. Was kann ich für Sie tun?
Yeah, a lot, I hope. Yeah, I mean, what I like is the characters. The new characters that they introduced. That's all right, but yeah, the other aspects, I agree with you. Yeah, let's...
Jawohl, das steht derzeit zur Verfügung.
Now let's see. Torpedoes. So.
Alle Maschinen stopp.
T1. Okay, weird. T3. T1. T3. I just try to avoid these torpedoes with the PI1 pistol because I think it is pretty unreliable. It's a very old one, so as long as I have the other torpedoes in the stores, I prefer them. And I used to do 50-50 electrically driven and steam powered torpedoes. So that's the bow storage. Stern storage. In the stern, I usually try to only have the Soundkönig, this sound-seeking torpedo. Okay, what's that in the background? Torpedo tube, stern. Okay, it's interesting that it's not explicitly said that this is the stern torpedo tube. However, let's put it there. And now what about the external? I wonder if I would like to have one T5 Soundseeker also. A 4? Nah, I think not. Let's just take the classical ones. So we still have relatively high quality torpedoes available, although it's that late in the year, in the war. Fuel, ammo. Did I fire? I think I didn't fire any gun. provisions. Let's get more sausages. And let's top off our canned meat supply. And we should be fine with that. And yeah, budget never is a problem. In the very beginning, for the first 2 or 3 missions, you have to take a look at the budget, and from that on, it's completely uncritical. If you ask me, they could make it a little bit harder. Well, there are a few things where they could adjust so that in the late game, where they could adjust things so that the late game is a bit more challenging. This is about upgrading your officers. In the late game, all your officers usually are completely leveled up, all the skills maxed out, and also about the money is never a problem. So yeah, somehow it would be nice if they could kind of tune that a bit so that you could even do some upgrading later in the game, and that you maybe sometimes have to consider, yeah, the money. So there we are.
Sonst noch etwas, Herr Kommandant?
I don't think that there are any upgrades available.
Sehr gut. Kommen Sie zu mir, wenn Sie etwas benötigen, Herr Kommandant.
So what about the Chief of Operations?
Ja, Herr Kommandant. Was benötigen Sie? Gute Jagd, Herr Kommandant.
Guten Tag, Herr Kommandant. Einige Männer haben sich gemeldet, sie könnten eine gute Ergänzung für ihre Besatzung sein. Womit kann ich Ihnen heute behilflich sein? Verstanden. Ich werde Sie umgehend registrieren.
Yeah.
Sonst noch etwas, Herr Kommandant?
Some survivors.
Sehr gut, Herr Kommandant.
Good.
Kommen Sie jederzeit zu mir, wenn Sie noch etwas benötigen.
Herr Kommandant, gut, Sie wiederzusehen.
New
Was
command.
führt Sie zu mir?
Special request. Flotilla change.
Sehr
No.
gut. Gute Jagd da draußen, Herr Kommandant.
Ja, Herr Kommandant.
Wegtreten.
Was benötigen Sie?
Is training the tutorial?
Gute Jagd, Herr Kommandant.
Yeah, okay. So never do the tutorial. Probably they have fixed it, but years ago when I did the tutorial, it was kind of buggy. Headquarters, yeah. Okay, by the way, where now?
Ja, Herr Kommandant. Was benötigen Sie?
Where can
Gute
I?
Jagd, Herr Kommandant.
Guten Tag, Herr Kommandant. Einige Männer haben sich gemeldet, sie könnten ein... Sehr gut,
Ah,
Herr
yeah,
Kommandant.
okay.
Guten Tag, Herr Kommandant.
Too fast.
Einige Männer haben sich gemeldet, sie könnten eine gute Ergänzung für ihre Besatzung sein. Womit kann ich Ihnen heute behilflich sein?
My crew needs a break. Hey, Aquicing, nice to have you in. Yeah, okay, so you are with weight loss, yeah, that it's yes. I mean, if you ask me, it doesn't disturb my gameplay much. It's a bit annoying because I just don't find things like I did before. But what I do like is the new characters that they created. And, well, I hope that they didn't put too much of effort into creating this, because there would be other things where effort would be better invested into, I think.
In Ordnung.
My
Wählen
crew
Sie, wo Ihre
needs
Männer
a
ihren
break.
Rundgang verbringen sollen.
No. So, discipline penalties yeah, now we are sending our crew on a shore leave, and yeah, let's choose the long one. And money is not an issue, so which benefits would we get? Discipline penalties removed, that's for both. Crew won't accumulate fatigue for 7 days, it's just the same. Discipline plus 5 for 10 days. Having time to think. Your crew gains 25% extra experience. Yeah, that doesn't help me much because they are all already leveled out to the max. Due to contact with politicians, the headquarter task will be performed 100% faster during the stay. So I think I'm going to take that one with the discipline plus 5 for 10 days. As the extra experience doesn't help me anything much. Yeah, as my officers are already maxed out. Yeah, hi Aqua Icing. Same for you. Happy Friday. End of the week. And yeah, actually around here it's 1 o'clock already. So we have already entered the weekend and you still have to wait for it for a few hours. But well, I mean, weekend actually starts in the afternoon or evening when you stop working, right? So we are all in the weekend already. Are we? Not sure. Maybe watchers from the US. West Coast, maybe not. And lately we had a few guys from Australia just as well. And there I'm always confused if they are ahead or behind. Always get confused about Australia and the time shift. They're ahead, yeah. Yep. Yeah, they're on. If you are sitting on that line where the date changes, there to the left, there to the. Yep, makes sense. Okay, yes, you have to work. Yeah. So do you have to get up early also on Saturday, or is it some kind of later, yeah, I don't know, shift or something?
Sonst noch etwas, Herr Kommandant? Sehr gut, Herr Kommandant. Kommen Sie jederzeit zu mir, wenn Sie noch etwas benötigen.
Yeah, okay, 6 o'clock in the morning. That's early, yep. Okay. Crew is on vacation. Let's rest. Okay, now I'm starting to grasp that concept. So 2 days, and this officer will have finished his learning phase. On we go. Training completed. So let's take a look at the crew list. Yeah, whom did I send? Yeah, you see all the assigned officers are maxed out. Mr. Trummel and Mr. Preen, they were a part of the crew for a long time, and then I gave them a long shore leave to give other officers the opportunity to get experience. So Mr. Seifert still only has 4 points. Could I check him? What about Mr. Marks? Hey, come on, let's send Mr. Seifert into training once more. Task completed. Okay, wasn't it yet registered in the list? Let's see. Mr. Seifert. Okay, see, no, he has this bar a little bit up and still 400 points missing to get a 5. Let's send him to the training once more. Headquarters and there we go. And 21 days, that's a lot. 3 weeks. This late in the war, in 3 weeks, a lot of things are changing. Okay, what's going on? Why did it stop? Okay, the task was completed. So let's see what's the status right now of Mr. Seifert. Let's continue sending him to that military school. We go. Yeah, and let's rest the remaining days. So there is some message up there, but we couldn't read it. All right. Let's give it a save. And let's go for the next mission. Yeah, we are just gonna do another standard patrol mission.
Herr Kommandant, gut, Sie wiederzusehen. Was führt Sie zu mir? Nach dem, was Sie geleistet haben? Betrachten Sie es als erledigt. Teilen Sie mir mit, was Sie benötigen, Herr Kommandant.
Yeah, also here that everything is maxed out here since a long time already for me, so it would be nice if there were more choices here which you might only access later in the war.
Gibt es noch etwas, das Sie benötigen? Sehr gut. Gute Jagd da draußen, Herr Kommandant.
Ja, Herr Kommandant. Was benötigt? Ein Blick auf die Karte, Herr Kommandant. Wir haben aktualisierte Aufklärungsdaten zu den Nachschubrouten in der Arktis. Hier sind die vorrangigen Planquadrate für Ihre nächste Feindfahrt.
Interesting. So I could also travel to Marseille and make that my home port, but well, at the moment I don't see the point. Let's continue the Battle of the Mediterranean. This is medium difficulty. We would get one more officer, and this is also a thing. Later in the war, you have so many officers. So they are just not worth anything anymore as a reward. Number of vessels small. High difficulty, number of vessels small again. What else do we get? Patrol that sector, okay. And also anticipated number of vessels small. Medium difficulty. Anything special about the mission? Obviously not. So I think I'm just gonna go for this one. Here we are. And
Gute Jagd, Herr Kommandant.
Okay. Yeah, we should have everything on board. Go to port. Check the boat once more, finally. Missing cook, okay.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Torpedoes. Yep, everything looks perfectly fine. Also the external storage is fine. And the stern torpedoes are properly loaded as well. Okay, so yeah, let's delete all the contacts. Yeah, I am actually playing on a relatively high, almost the highest difficulty level, also including that any contact is not automatically marked on the map, but you actually do have that contact tracking manually. But these tools here, these graphics or drawing tools, they are pretty nice. So I quite like that concept. Gives me even more immersion.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Okay, let's go. And undock.
Voraus.
Als eingespielte Mannschaft werden wir dem Feind zeigen, wozu ein U-Boot in der Lage ist.
Okay, the crew was still standing on the deck. So guys, get in. Do we have the helmsman station manned by now? Yes, we have. Hey, why are they on battle station?
Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, look at that. This is also one of these beautiful details, the lighthouses that you get in the game. Yeah, this time acceleration of course breaks the immersion a bit, but we have to be on the way. So let's give it a new save. W425. There we go. Ship spotted. Pretty sure that we are talking about a fisherman. Yeah, for sure. So no need to investigate around here. On we go. A fishing boat, yeah.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Okay, 10 o'clock, change of watch.
Benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
And on we go. Okay, new intelligence. Let's see, what do we get there?
Funkraum besetzen.
Cute messages. But yeah, I'm more curious about the new intelligence.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Betrachten Sie es als nicht, Herr Kaloy.
Okay, so did we miss this new intelligence? Just sending the report of having spotted 2 fishermen. Headquarters will be very pleased. And Mr. Schultz, please care for the navigation. But it's morning beautiful, isn't that? I love these views. You really have this very specific atmosphere for the different times of the day, and very different for different types of weather. It's great.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Bestätige. Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
I wonder if it's already worthwhile to do a hydrophone check around here, or if we would just run into more fishermen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Maybe just carry on
Zwei gewartet.
for a little while. Maybe wait for the next change of watch, and then we are gonna do the hydrophone check.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Navigation besetzen. Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So what's happening? This is some standard workflow, and the crew is all running, the off-watch crew is running to the front compartment, giving additional ballast there, and one of the officers is opening the ballast tanks so that the seawater is freely streaming in. Two guys of the crew have manned the depth steers, and here we are. The crew being assembled in the fore compartment and the ballast tank being filled with seawater. The fore tank and the stern tank with a little bit of a delay. Also, these details are so nicely modeled in the game. It really gives me the feeling that there is physics behind the diving process. And like in earlier games, it was like you were just on rails. And here you really, I don't know how detailed they are actually simulating the physics of the floating submarine, but the feeling that you get is really deep. There we are, now having arrived at 50 meters. The crew stops the engines, and now we are gonna listen to the hydrophone for 5 minutes. We already have contact, but yeah, probability is high that this might just be one fisherman. Single contact 01. But we are gonna check out. Yeah, let's finish the hydrophone check. There might be more guys around. And there we go, back to the surface, which means that now our compressed air is being blown into the ballast tanks to push the water out. So you could never do that just with pumps in time. So that was a good idea back then, to use compressed air to quickly empty the ballast tanks. Of course, you always have to make sure that after a dive the compressors are actually used to refill, to top off the compressed air. You could even see here, so from 240 atmospheres we are down to 169, so we still would have a bit of a margin for another blowing the tanks. Problem is, the deeper you are, the more compressed air you need to blow the tanks, and when you are at something like 200 meters, blowing the tanks is pretty much inefficient, because the compressed air has to work against all that outside pressure, and you wouldn't move any much water then. So now let's head for this contact, and assuming that it would be some standard merchantman, it would move with something like 8 knots, so after an hour it would be roughly on that circle. We do not know which direction it's moving, and for us, when we are going flank speed, we will have moved something like 16 miles. So, Mr. Grade, sorry to disturb you, it's your off watch, but I need you and 2 crew hands at the diesel so that we can go flank speed. So now Mr. Grade and the 2 crew hands are really kind of adjusting and fiddling around with the engine so that they get everything out of it. And this also means that we have a bit of a reduced fuel usage. I mean, relatively reduced. Of course, we would still use less fuel when we were going with cruise speed. Now time. So we detected that contact there at 6:10. So now we are gonna go for 1 hour until 7:10, and then we are gonna do another hydrophone check and get our second data point to extrapolate their course and heading.
Navigation besetzen.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
It's evening. So if this would be an enemy ship, it would be a night encounter. So 1 hour. Let's do the next hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Yeah, we still have these pretty bright nights, so I'm playing with the dark night setting, but it's not working since the update. You do have bright nights nevertheless.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter. E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
45 Meter.
Okay, propeller stopped and we are listening again.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
Now, what will be their position by now?
50 Meter.
I think it's high probability that we have a fisherman there. But yeah, you can never tell. We could tell it by the extrapolated speed. If this ship would be going with only 4 or 5 knots, then it's 100% clear that it is a fisherman. No. Yes, okay, see.
50 Meter.
It just moved 4 miles within 1 hour. So it's very slow. 4 knots. Fisherman for sure. Well, however, let's carry on. Yeah, let's finish the hydrophone check. We might detect something else.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloy?
Yeah, this is the idea. With 2 hydrophone checks within 1 hour, you can nicely estimate their speed and their course. So guys, it's a pleasure to have all of you in the stream, and yeah, I don't want to be pushy. It's perfectly fine if you just lurk silently, but of course you could make a little streamer like me a little bit more happy if you would participate in the chat. Tell us where you're from, what your experience with the game is, or maybe even consider to give me a follow.
Anblasen. 35 Meter.
All right, back to the surface, and let's continue on our course to the patrol area.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
And let's give it a save. Hi, Kiwi.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
How are you doing? Nice to have you in. So, the week is over. The weekend is coming. So, did you just drop into the stream, or were you watching already since a while? So, update is that after yesterday's stream, we went back to the port of La Spezia and did refuel, rearm, sent the crew on a shore leave for 3 weeks, and now we are back in the game. Going for a new patrol mission. So At the moment we are half through the second part of the Battle of the Mediterranean. Yeah, let's see that we kick some more asses. Yeah, maybe doing one more hydrophone check.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter. 25. Meter.
50 Meter.
Okay, now everybody silence, please. And check. So, by the way, our bosun, Mr. Schultz. Oh, okay, we still have that issue with the glowing eyes. I love this first-person view. It's so great, but the glowing eyes, of course, do break the immersion a bit. So we have a boatload of zombies here. Crew quarters, officers' quarters.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50
And
Meter.
the captain has... Oh shit, these eyes. That they didn't get that under control. But still, this first-person view is great. You can actually play the game completely in first-person view from the skipper's point of view. But yeah, it's pretty tough. It's okay, it's great immersion, but sometimes it lacks a bit of an overview. And particularly for streaming, I decided that it's not optimum. Okay, so now you are playing with the 100%. So you also have it on maximum damage. So this is actually, I think, the only setting that I don't max out. It's the damage that enemy depth charges do. I put it to medium. Actually, even the developers recommend to put it to medium for realistic. And yeah, then I'm ending up at something like 98%, yep. Yeah, I'm a bit afraid. Well, actually, I'm very afraid to put the damage, the depth charge damage from medium to high. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the attack calculation, that makes quite a difference, I think, in terms of gameplay, right? So the probability of hitting something is considerably reduced as soon as you have to do all the attack calculation manually. But yeah, I mean, like I used to say, for the sake of immersion, I really love to do these things manually. Yeah, hi guys, a few more people entered the stream, great to have you in. Just lurk silently if you like, perfectly fine, but don't hesitate to participate in the chat and share with us where you're from, what your relation to the game is, and yeah, just everything. Hey, come on, do we have the pink eyes now even in this view? Ah, too bad. We didn't have that before. Ha. Bilge, just 70 liters, almost nothing. Completely uncritical.
Ja?
But no contacts at the moment.
Anblasen.
40 Meter. 10 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotor.
Herr Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
All right. There we go. No. Allow me to be AFK just for 1 minute. Or let me save before. Better save than sorry. No. I'll be back in 60 seconds. No. Yeah, the Arctic missions, they were actually the hardest to find enemy ships. So I really spent hours in the Arctic and didn't find just any enemy ship or convoy. And this is different here. Fingers crossed that it works on this patrol just as well.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
Wir haben neue Befehle vom BDU erhalten.
New orders. What is it? Okay, we have decided to implement changes in the assigned squares for you. We have a new patrol area, and obviously we are now already in this patrol area. All right. Very good. So we can suddenly report
Funkraum besetzen.
that we have reached the patrol area.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
Herr Kaloin?
Navigation besetzen.
Ich benötige etwas Unterstützung.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
All right, next hydrophone check.
50 Meter.
Time of the day, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
And down we go. Yeah, this diving process looks so nice.
Meter.
By the way, what about the discipline? Discipline is perfectly fine still. And yeah, the galley. Let's supply some sausages.
50 Meter.
And listen.
Herr Kaloin?
Bit of water in the bilge, but uncritical, like usual. And Mr. Schneider doing torpedo maintenance. His standard job.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
50 Meter.
Ja?
Now let's listen for 5 minutes if there are any contacts.
Bogengeräusch. Peilung 270 Grad.
Very good.
Meter.
Yeah, it says merchant, but it still might be a fisherman. So let's mark it. It's the second single contact that we got. And yeah, finish the 5 minutes of hydrophone check, and then we're gonna chase that guy. Mr. Garada, I'm sorry, I need you at the engines.
E-Motoren besetzen.
It's your off watch. but yeah.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Leun?
Any more contacts?
Anblasen. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloy, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Okay, now again, let's assume that the guys are just ordinary merchantmen. Then they would go with something like 7, 8 knots, and us now going with flank speed 16 knots, and for 1 hour till 9:10. And fingers crossed that this guy is not just a fisherman. Yeah, okay, I only went standard speed and not flank speed. However, we are gonna do the next hydrophone check
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
to get the next data point.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
I don't know, I somehow have the feeling that they have changed the sound of the electric engines. Oh, I don't know.
Aktuelle Tiefe 40
Herr
Meter.
Kaloin?
Now we can be very curious what the position of this guy is now after 1 hour. Sometimes the contacts vanish, which is usually consistent.
50 Meter.
There are other German submarines around, and might be
Auf 4 gewartet.
that they sink other ships. But if I remember right, since we are in the Mediterranean, we didn't run into any other German submarine.
Aktuelle Tiefe 55 Meter.
So please give me that contact.
Meter. Meter.
So come on, give me the contact. Where are the guys? Ah, there they are. Wow, that looks good. That looks like it's a decent merchantman moving with 8 knots. Now we have their estimated speed and their estimated course.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Hey, Scratchy. Nice to have you in. Englisch redender Dude. Yeah. Yeah, well. On the one hand, I like to speak English. And, well, actually, it's the only other language I know. Except for my native language. And I really love to reach all of you guys all over the world. What do you mean with future perfect? I'm not very much a grammar pro. So do you mean that is this a it will have been? Do you mean the grammatical form of future perfect? If something like that exists? Well, yeah, I think I would say my English is okay-ish, but far from perfect. There is a lot of things that I would love to be able to be better in the language, but on the other hand, I feel all right. It works. Usually, I'm able to deliver my message.
Meter.
Aktuelle Tiefe 15 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Yeah, the only thing is that I really hope that yeah, I'm sure that everybody could tell by my accent that I'm German, but hey, come on, Scratchy. Yeah. What I do have here, it's cider with a bit of soda. That was the noise, actually. Yeah, aqua icing. That's why I do English, because if I were doing this stream in German, we would never have met, probably. Alright, back to the surface. Time. Let's go till 10:15. And then we get another data point. Hey, acquiescing. Depends on, I mean, so you mean you're not US American, right? Yep. Yeah, I guess that's what the common meaning is. Yep. I think you're right. So here we are, having gone for 1 hour, something like that. And do another hydrophone check to get another data point. No, you're not. Acquiescing is Canadian, actually.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter.
Yeah, but still you have 3 languages then. You speak English, you speak French, and a bit of German. So, yeah, as for me, my French is so very, very basic. It's almost non-existent.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
Ça va?
Handelsschiff, Teilung 350 Grad.
Ah, okay, interesting, interesting. Do you have an idea where your family comes from? From which region of Germany?
50 Meter.
Je suis Josh. Je ne parle pas français very well. South? South? Yeah, exactly, you're right. And so I just wanted to underline that my French is almost non-existent. Weight loss is very good in languages. He's also good in Spanish, as far as I remember. Not that I can judge it, but I think he is. In 1867, okay. Yeah, an uncle of my wife, he left Germany, I'm not sure, in the late 60s or in the early 70s, and he also went to Canada. He's living in Quebec. Yeah, so can you also say the cat has eaten my homework? In French? Or something like, on the way to school I was ambushed by terrorists and they took away my homework.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Okay, let's briefly get back to the game and make sure that we mark this new position. And so we have a nice extrapolation of their course. Ah, nice. So what was it? A Riesling or a Grey Burgundy or... Yeah, the wine from Aldi is not necessarily bad. They also have some good ones, I think. Not that I'm the expert. Yeah, I remember our favorite pizzeria in my hometown where we went after, well, the pubs closed down. Then we used to go there and have a pizza. And on the opposite side of the road, there was a very weird pub we never dared to enter, and it was called Chat Noir. Talking about cats. So the chase is open.
Tiefe 15 Meter.
Another hour would bring us there. Another hour would bring them there. Maybe we could do 2 hours right away. After 2 hours, I would expect them there by that reckoning. And it will still take a little while to catch up with the guys. Chateau Noir, yeah. It was actually Chat Noir. The cat, the black cat. Chateau Noir. Yes, it was kind of creepy. I don't know. We never went in. We never dared. but it did look a little bit like that it was a pub where young chaps like we were back then would have been molested by middle-aged women. This was somehow our impression of that one, just from the outside. Weißburgunder, white burgundy. Yes, yep. Most sun hours of the year in Germany. Yep, that's what I heard as well. Yep. No problem. There is worse states of the mind than just being drunk, I would say. Here we are. And let's do the next hydrophone check.
Auf 50 Meter.
So they should be somewhere around there. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you came in with Pit. Great. So where is he at the moment?
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
Meter.
Yeah, well, is this a misprint, a typo? You mean not Dönitz, you mean Dönitz, right? You have been phoning with Admiral Dönitz.
Kurs setzen.
Schraubengeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 345 Grad.
All right.
50 Meter.
They are pretty much where we expected them to be, so our dead reckoning is not that bad. Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Meter.
Aktuelle Tiefe 50 Meter.
So, another data point. They are there. Single O2. That's the contact.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
55 Meter.
Feet fetish. That reminds me of a wonderful cartoon series that I loved to watch, which was the Penguins of, is it called The Penguins of Madagascar? Anybody knows what I mean? And why your feet fetish reminds me of that. So another arrow would bring them there and would bring us there, and 2 arrows would be like that. So I think I could intercept them before I hit that island. Ah, 24 hours race. Yeah, interesting. That's a big party, isn't it? I mean, isn't it like an open air festival or something? Like you go there by tent, stay there for 1 or 2 nights and things like that.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Let's give it another save. And, well, wait until we get... So what's the problem then? A name?
Herr Kaloin?
Now let's finish the check. So Jos Verstappen is in the field. I mean, he's driving there. Okay. Yeah, I know the guy, yeah.
45 Meter.
The Dutch people, yeah, well. Yeah, but, well, I mean, I think you can have great parties with Dutch people.
25 Meter.
So, getting back to the surface.
Tiefe 5 Meter.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
Well, I mean, meanwhile, there is not too much of a difference anymore between the Netherlands and Germany, since weed is legalized also here in Germany. No, 20 past 12. Let's go for another 2
Wir
hours.
sind aufgetaucht.
So 1 hour.
etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloy.
2 hours. There we are.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, yeah. But that sounds kind of typically Dutch. Yeah, well, you ask what I think about weed. I think they shouldn't have legalized it because weed is something, some possibility for the young people to rebel against the old people. And by legalizing it, you really took away this opportunity for the young people to do something illegal on purpose. And that's why I think they shouldn't have legalized it. Yeah, so they probably did a Google search on that flag and found out that it is completely harmless. So what else? Yeah, let's do one more hydrophone check. Yeah, when I was younger, I did smoke weed very now and then, occasionally. And when we did it, we felt kind of, yeah, pretty tough and kind of cool doing something illegal. And this feeling is actually taken away.
Turmgeräusch. Handelsschiff. Peilung 285 Grad.
And there they are.
25 Meter.
Next data point. Single O2. Alright. So they are relatively reliably moving with that speed of 8 knots. Let's just hope that they're not changing course when they're approaching the coast of that island.
55 Meter.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
So now half an hour. And us half an hour. Like that. Distance would be 3 miles, so we would get into visible range.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, but let's finish the hydrophone check, just in case there are any more contacts around.
Meter.
Yeah, it's so nice to have you in. I pretty much enjoy this little Friday night chat. Yeah, I pretty much like the Dutch people. Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, my hometown is not too far away. Yeah, it's not right close to the Dutch border, but that kind of area of Germany kind of borders to the Netherlands. So I think the mentality, the mindset of the guys around my home area is not too far away from the mindset of the Dutch people. Okay, alright, Scratchy. It was great that you dropped in, and wonderful to have your comments in the stream. So have a good night, sleep well. Yeah. Yeah, well, these kind of guys, yep. Yeah. Probably they were quite some assholes, but, well, the good thing is they obviously were no right-wing radicals. And there we go, back to the surface. Do we? We need some...
30 Meter.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. I love this animation.
Aktuelle Tiefe 10 Meter. Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Ah, look at that. We already have eyes on the smoke column.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Half past. Let's go till 4 o'clock.
Ja? Wird erledigt, Herr Kalon.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yeah, give it another save. I'm very curious what kind of ship that is that we are following there. There they are. Let's see if we can already figure out something. Okay, this is just an ordinary something unarmed transport. So I think we could go straight in, try to convince them to abandon ship,
Alarm.
or
Landschiff in Sicht.
sink them with the deck gun.
277 Grad.
I think
Perfekte
that's a good
Spielgemeinschaft
plan.
werden wir den Feind zeigen, wozu ein U-Boot in der Lage ist.
Yeah, come on guys, you could step away from battle station.
Alarm beenden.
Okay, so we have that intelligence by now.
Kurs setzen.
Yeah, let's go in for the kill. But before that, yeah, smoke on the horizon, yeah, smoke on the water. And maybe soon there's gonna be a fire in the sky. It's British, isn't it? And I'm pretty sure that it's this one. It's not this one. It is not this one. Yeah, damn sure that we have this guy. And we could even get a good guess on the angle on bow, which would be 75 degrees, roughly. Our velocity we checked, it's something like 8 knots, angle on bow. Let's say 70 something, 75 degrees.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
And the distance by now,
5 Bug rechts.
checking it from the map, could be something like 1, 2, 3, almost 3 miles still. Something like that.
Aktualisieren. Lage 7-3 rechts. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Still not 100% sure what nationality we have there. But I guess it's British.
Kurs setzen. setzen.
Let's just hope that they don't call in air support. We are so close to British airbase.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
It's British. I'm pretty sure. So allow me to do this little bit of cheating. Yes. Oh, I wasn't aware that we are already that close to the coast.
Herr Kaloin, feindliche Schiffe geben Alarm.
Keine Panik. Konzentriert euch auf eure Aufgaben.
I think they are changing course.
Halbe Fahrt voraus. Kurs setzen.
Alright, they are turning around, trying to get away.
AK voraus.
So it's gonna be a bit of a chase. Okay, it's called Gozo, this one here. So it's Malta. Yeah, okay, didn't know that. Colin, by the way, nice to have you in. Good evening. How are you doing?
diese Koordinaten setzt. Kurs setzen. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten.
We are moving too fast. Okay.
Fahrt voraus.
Let's see if we can signal them to abandon their ship. Hard Rock Cafe, okay. Help me please. Had there been elections in Scotland actually? Communicate that we intend to sink the ship. After our crew sends the light signals that you're going to sink the ship, a commotion is quickly seen on deck and the crew is leaving the ship. Very good. So
Alle
let's
Maschinen.
stop. Okay, local elections, yeah. So is it then kind of counties or the mayors of the towns and cities? Or kind of, yeah, I don't know how this is. Okay, so it's not that local. It's the Scottish Parliament. Yeah, alright. Wasn't aware of that. So, let me save and allow me to be AFK for 1 minute, and then I'm curious how boarding a ship works now since the update. But let me pause it. I'm just a bit afraid that we might have incoming airplanes from Malta. Alright, back again. Yeah, Welsh and Scottish Parliament, and I mean, is there also a local English Parliament? Or did they say we don't need it because we have our UK Parliament anyway? So that was actually what I would have expected, that there is an English, Scottish and a Welsh parliament and an Irish. But I'm not quite sure whether I'm up to date with that. So, what can we do? Send a team to the freighter? Okay, this is just like it always was. Let's send Mr. Arlos. A bit of explosives. Let's send... Ooh! Mr. Grade, he is tired. He can't go there. He could sink the ship without explosives, but... Well, it's just alright. Let's send Stefan Schulz and Harro Hinrich and 7 crewmates, and there we go. Delegation being sent, the Zodiac moving. Okay, everything is just like it always was. Go to the engine room. Plant the explosives, and there we go. Yeah, I could have checked the cargo bay, but well.
Funkraum besetzen.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Funkraum besetzen.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
Wow, that was 4,000 and a few tons. Nice. And send the report. Lifeboat number 1. No officers. And lifeboat number 2. 1, 2 officers. Let's get them on board and give some food to the other guys. Nope. Hey, come on, get the sausages. Floating containers, they actually fit our supplies, so it would not use up another inventory slot. Okay, yes. Yep. Yeah, Holyrood, I remember. Yeah. Hearing these locations kind of, yeah, triggers a few memories. I remember the Holyrood Park, which is one of the, say, weirdest and on the other hand nicest parks in a capital that I ever saw. So, Mr. Schultz, get the sausages. At least back then, when I was in Edinburgh, I remember that the Holyrood Park was actually just like a piece of the Highlands being put into a city.
Natürlich, Herr Kaloy. Natürlich, Herr Kaloy.
I'll get the canned meat just as well. Yeah, wasn't it that in principle labor is also relatively strong in Scotland? I think I faintly remember that.
Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum. Bestätige.
Kurs setzen.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
So let's give it a save here, and if I look at the time, yeah, it's time to turn in. We are approaching 3 o'clock in the morning around here, and yeah, this was a 3 hours and a bit stream, so very nice. Finally we sank one merchantman, which brings us almost to 80,000 tons, and one step closer to the next boat upgrade point. So it was a pleasure to have all of you guys in. Nice chatting, and yeah, definitely gonna do another stream tomorrow, and it would be great to see you again. Yeah, it was a pleasure, and see you again, maybe tomorrow. Bye bye, guys. Have a good night, have a good evening, have a good morning, wherever you are watching from. Bye bye.